In this episode, I'm finally revealing the new look of my GU Patrol. It's not completely finished, but I couldn't wait any longer to show you guys where it's heading. This setup is shaping up to be my absolute dream rig, and I'll give you a quick rundown on why. But trust me, this is just a taste. We've got a full lineup of in-depth build episodes coming. They'll break down everything piece by piece, show the whole process, and take this thing to the next level. So get ready, this is the halfway mark, and what you're about to see is the concept starting to come to life.
Baby, don't you know I suffer? Oh, baby, can you hear me, Lord? You caught me under false pretenses. How long before you let me go?
As it's been much anticipated, but we are finally revealing the new look of the GU Patrol. So let's go have a walk around. The thing is, I wanted to build a car that was sort of different. I'm building it for me, and I want it to look cool on-road, but I want it to be practical off-road. And I think there's only so many ways you can do a custom tray setup. At the end of the day, it just looks like a black tray on the back of the ute. So I've always had the idea of wanting to put a tub on the Patrol, and this is where we ended up with. I honestly had a few ideas. I did think about getting a wagon and cutting it down and fabricating the back end of a wagon into a style side, but the reality was, if I did do any panel damage on any of the sides, there is probably weeks and weeks of work to make a wagon look like a proper style side, and it wouldn't be necessarily easy to replace those panels if they're damaged. So what I landed on was that when I did a bit of research, I saw a thing about custom fiberglass panels. This is what we got on here. It's fiberglass, and they're made by custom fiber parts on the Goldie. So Ross went ahead and he makes these up for Patrols. We went with that, and I'm going to explain why, because when you look in here, what Radius Fabrication has done, who's done all the fabrication work and made this come to light and sort out all the mounting, is he's tubed all in here. And what we've done is sheeted on the outside here. So what's going to happen is when I go full driving, I'm going to remove the fiberglass sides. The reason I'm going to remove the fiberglass sides is because I don't want to have to worry about panel damage. The thing is, I don't like panels. I've always loved having a tray for the fact that once it's past the back of my cab, the front door, I don't have to care about the rest. So what we'll do is these, with literally 5 bolts to undo, we can take this whole panel off, and then I don't have to worry about caving it in. And then we just wheel it with the tube frame and the sheeted alloy here on top. Now this obviously will get painted and looked a bit nicer, but the cool thing as well, these sheets here not only just protect the fiberglass sides from debris that could flick up and stuff like that, but they're also going to be storage boxes for like dirty recovery gear. They're not going to be completely sealed, but anything that's going to get a little bit of dust and a little bit of moisture on them can be stored in here. Just because single cab life, I don't have much room, so we tried to find as many opportunities for storage as we could. Now speaking of storage, obviously I've got to think outside the box. So we're creating a box. Essentially, I knew that this isn't a tour anymore. I knew that I didn't want to use a swag because since having a rooftop tent, it's really hard to go back to that. So I made sort of provisions to be able to run a rooftop tent. So we've got a new prototype. I'm going to let the boys from Active Bacteria do the release and details on this, but this is a prototype of a new tent that's much smaller and lighter. So I was really lucky to work with them to get this on the car and design it around that, to be able to still keep the rooftop tent but not have too much weight. And obviously this setup would be on the lighter side in comparison to somewhat of a big steel tray, and obviously the train canopy that I previously had, that I still needed a bit of weight on the car to keep traction to those rear wheels when I'm wheeling. So I could afford to have this as an addition, which I'm absolutely stoked about. But essentially what we're going to do here, this is another thing that isn't finished, is, I mean, you couldn't put these sides on and not go for like the Wish version of a trophy truck. I'm not saying I'm trying to be a trophy truck. We're not going to go that far with suspension. It'd be cool. It's just not necessary. But I was like, the angled tire, it's going to look cool. It's something I really want to achieve. So that's what we've done. But the cool thing about it, and I can't exactly show you, one, because I'm not strong, and two, it's not done, is you can get the motion. Okay, the concept is it goes all the way up here. I just physically can't lift it without the gas strut. So the fabrication side of things is mostly done. We just didn't get the gas struts, they didn't arrive in time. But this will lift all the way up, and essentially it will have 12 volt and some lights coming down on it, because what's going to slide out from under here is a completely sealed drawer. So this is going to allow me to essentially camp for 1, max 2 nights. Like I said, this isn't a tourer. This is my weekend wheeler. It's a car to go hit hard tracks, but I don't know, something goes terribly wrong and I'm camping on the track for the night, or we're in Wadigans and we're doing it for 2 days and we're camping for 1 night. I have a sealed drawer that I can put dry food in and just store some bags or whatever I need to carry for a night away if I can't, because obviously I don't have room in the cab. There's if I got a passenger, you can fit pretty much nothing in there. So it was a sealed drawer that's going to utilize all the empty space we have under here that will slide out. I can have my gas cooker and a few things like that just to live comfortably enough for a night away. Obviously you would have seen it was sheeted on the other side. This is what it actually looks like underneath. It's all tubed. There's obviously probably 3 boxes here. So now what we want to do, as I said, there are going to be some storage options in here. On one of the sides, we want to put in an air compressor and have a bit of a hose reel because obviously being a wheeler, it's going to be airing up and airing down quite a bit. So that's something that's going to come in handy. We are also going to look at putting a water tank probably up the front. I don't need much, but after having the train canopy and having water on tap, it's nice to have a few litres just for one night away. You need to wash the hands, like you break apart, you're covered in mud, you just want to wash yourself up. Or I happen to have 1 or 2 dishes from the night out, I can wash them up. It's just nice to have some kind of running water. So that's something we're going to try and incorporate in there. Another thing as well, we've got 2 options. There's a bit of a voided space up the front to fit another storage box. And what this is going to be is essentially for tail shafts, CVs, axles, anything that I might possibly need if I'm doing a hard track where I could potentially break something and I need to carry spares or certain tools and stuff. And house things like that you don't need all the time is something we're just thinking about, because once again, we're doing sort of a look that looks cool on road. When you take the pedal slides off, it's practical off-road, but once again, single cab life, storage problems. And I'm not trying to solve all of them. It's not gonna be the most comfortable car to camp out of and do those things. It's not what I'm trying to design it for. I just want it to be able to carry the basics, carry the spares, and potentially be comfortable for a night's sleep if I need. So this is somewhat of what the finished product's going to look like when it's on road. So obviously we've got the fiberglass panel on here, we've got the tail light in here. We still have to make some adjustments in here in terms of just how closely it's going to sit to the cab, get the tail lights in a bit better. Like I said, this was kind of just put together for the show. I might look at some aftermarket ones. We're also looking at designing a bumper that can wrap around here just to complete the look, to also potentially run some brake and indicators. I still haven't done my measurements yet in figuring out legalities with tail lights. It's a thing, we're still looking into that. So if you are asking or wondering that question, there is going to be a bumper going in here. If we need to make provisions for lights down there, that's what we'll do. But essentially, this is the look on road, and then I'll probably add some shots. Hopefully I'll get some by now. You'll see that it dips in it right in the middle. So the only concern I have is if I get in a really unfortunate situation when I'm wheeling and a tree gets jammed in there, it's not going to be ideal. So what we can potentially look at is adding some more tubing on the outside just to make it more of a straighter edge that I can slide along if I think it's necessary. But the reality is when these sides come off and you've got the tubing here, it actually sits quite far in the wheel. So the widest part of the car should be the wheel. So should a tree be here or anything like that, this is what it should be hitting and leaning against, unless I'm on a shocking angle. But it's no different to the problem you're gonna have in a wagon, which you're gonna be worrying about panels that are here anyway. So if a wagon get through it, I'm definitely gonna get through it. It shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, it's only if I'm on a terrible lean or an embankment, or there just happens to be a rock or a tree in the wrong place, I guess I'm just gonna have to learn to drive better. So that is a quick rundown of the tub. Now I am going to be doing a complete build series. So we've got some shots of it actually being fabricated and telling you how we designed it, where we've strengthened it, and how the whole concept's come to life. So there will be some episodes on that. If you wanna know more, we're gonna go more into detail on actually what's going on in there. But at least you can see the concept, you can see it being brought to life right now, and you can sort of see where we're going with it. Like I said, there's a few more weeks left of fabrication in it. So we have got a little bit of work to do. I'm gonna pause because there is something coming up the track right now that we need to talk about. I wanted to put an M57 in this. That was the engine I wanted to put in this car, right? We're here at Glass House and I can hear this thing coming up. He come up before and Lucy's filming and we always were like, you can hear a car. What do you think it is? I couldn't guess it, but I was like, I don't know, it sounds cool. Do you know what drove up here? An M57 BMW, not converted, in the factory car. I don't know why I'm gonna bother putting the engine here. I'm just gonna go buy one. These guys have been wheeling the crap out of it all day, told me all about Ventures, have seen it. They've just gone and recovered a Hilux that's down there. We went and saw it. Anyway, come around and have a look at this thing. Have a look at it. That is nuts. Are you kidding me? I'm literally just in the middle of filming and you started coming up and I was telling them about how I wanted to convert my car to the M57, and then I see not only M57, but it's still like in the donor car that everyone uses. It is absolutely wild. So everyone, this is John. This is his BMW. I think he's absolutely crazy. But I'm like all about things that aren't normal, like at all. Like in this thing, like my dream with my Patrol, right, was tub sided and M57 engine. So like I rate the engine already, but to see you having a crack and making it a 4-wheeler, like that's nuts. Can you like give us like a little rundown on it? And like
What's done to it? D-Max front bar, modified to suit, 12,000 pound winch, Conforcer, 31-inch muddies. We've got some custom rock sliders, custom bash plate, snorkel, of course. I'll just pop the hood so you can have a look.
Yeah.
And custom rear bar. There she is.
Okay, is there like a tough track that you've done in this that like people would know? Like, is there something that you've like conquered in this car?
Watchtower.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like straight up.
So you have a fair crack in this thing.
Yeah, I'll send it.
It's crazy. I was saying before. Did you get the Hilux out?
Yeah, we just pulled him out at idle, pretty much.
Oh, isn't that like?
It's pretty easy.
So we had a few bikes come up and they're like, "Hey guys, there's a Hilux stuck down the bottom." So they've gone down. Good deed of the day to recover this Hilux stuck in Glasshouse. I'm sorry, but if I was sitting stuck in my car waiting for a car to come recover me, I would not expect this.
No, he was pretty shocked when he saw us.
Yeah. Did he say anything? Was he like, "You're gonna get me out"?
Yeah, he was a little bit concerned, but we just put soft shackles on the back and it just idled him out. No problem.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, thank you for quickly jumping in and giving us an explanation. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. I'm like, what are the chances? Just be sitting here and have this. So I'm going to follow along on the adventures.
Yeah, if you want to see someone to laugh at, this is the one.
Sick. Thank you so much. So some more modifications we've actually changed on the car is I've added a few new accessories. And the cool thing is I'm actually working with a brand that has been an actual dream of mine. So I went to SEMA in 2019 and I met Casey Highlights and I met the crew, I met a lot of the ambassadors and I seen them on cars and I just fell in love with the product, seeing it in action and meeting the team and all of it. Anyway, if there was such thing as a bucket list for brands and sponsorships to work with, I'm very fortunate obviously to work with brands and be in the position I am in to be able to set a goal of aligning myself with a brand to work with and being able to tick that off and now welcoming Casey Highlights on board is quite literally a dream come true. The reason I hadn't done this before is Casey hasn't always been in Australia and they've finally come back down under. So to be able to get my hands on them, I'm so excited, honestly. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm not gonna ramble too much because I'm excited about it, but I want to share that they're down under. I'm sure there's a few people that are familiar with Casey Highlights and their products and probably think they're just as cool as I do. And if you do, then you've got good taste. Anyway, I did throw some spotties on for the show just to see how they look, but I don't think I'm going to leave these on permanently because the reality is last time I ran spotties on my car, it ran 10 degrees hotter. The TD doesn't like, it needs all the airflow she can get. So we'll probably end up removing these, but there is a few more lights that I do want to add on the car. We've got some rock lights in and we've got some reverse lights at the back as well. So I'm super stoked to have Casey Highlights on the car finally. Like I said, it's been an absolute dream of mine. I just can't believe it's finally happened. But anyway, stay tuned because we're going to do some more cool things with the Casey lights on the back. They've got a huge range, so we're going to try and incorporate that as well with a bit of a camp setup and obviously the rock lights when we're wheeling and all those kinds of things. But essentially, they're the new things on the cars at the moment. I did go some new tyres as well. We've got the Nitto Trail Grapplers. Now, these are the mud versions. I actually haven't really ran mud since I brought this car with the 35s that come on it. I've always been sort of a hybrid girl. I originally ran the Toyos and I ran them in the RTs, absolutely love them. And then this year I've decided to give Nitto a go because I've been running Toyos for a few years and I just wanted to see what the Nittos are like. And I'll let you know how they go. I obviously haven't tested them out. They're like literally a week old. So keen to test out the Nitto Muddies and see how they go off-road. And we will look at potentially doing some new wheels eventually as well. But there's still a few more stages to this build, a few more things are going to change, but I'm going to keep that under wraps for now and just focus on the tub and our lighting and exterior situation. And like I said, over the next few weeks, you're going to be seeing a few episodes coming out and explaining the whole build process, what Richie from Radius Fabrication has done behind the scenes, how he's worked with the custom fibre parts from Ross, and how we brought this to life. I'd love to know what you guys think of the new build. Look, I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I really wanted to build this car for me and for my purpose, which was to get back into wheeling and start hitting some of the harder tracks and stop trying to be the ultimate tourer and wheeler in one. If you watched my last episode, you know what I'm talking about. So essentially, I wanted to build my dream car that looked cool on road, something that I was really proud of, something that was just a little bit different, and then also had the practicality when I went wheeling as well. And this is a concept that I've come up with, and this is how Richie from Radius Fabrication has helped me pull it off. I'm so excited to continue getting into this build, spending another few weeks working on this tub setup and showing you guys the finished product and where we're going next with the rest of the car, and finally getting out there and using it for what it was built for. So if you have any questions, drop in the comments. The build videos are coming soon, so I'm happy to answer them in those videos. So make sure you let me know what you want to know. Tell me what your thoughts, and throw me any ideas that, you know, we might not cover. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Just quickly before you go as well, we have just launched some new merch. We have the new Driven tees, the Driven Not Hidden tees. This is the design on the back. You would have noticed it matches the window benders because we build our cars to drive them. Well, that is the plan. I have a few weeks of building this, but the plan is to get it out on the tracks, to be driven and not hidden. So if you guys are keen on some merchandise, jump on the website, hats, shirts, there's a few other designs, drivengarage.com.au, and that's all I've got. Thanks for watching the episode. See you next time.
A bit of an update on Bree's build that we're doing. My name's Bree. I like to leave everything to the last 48 hours of everything.